Now if you're watching last time, you'd have seen we put the little dot filters on, which is sort of like a wash, but really we're doing little streaky effects, and that went all along the hull and along the sides here, and that's turned out really well. That's accentuated all kinds of things and given me some pretend natural griminess. Now I also ran a quick wash on the wheels, only so I could take the photos and sort of finish that video off. But what I thought I'd do is I'll show you how to do the wash on the other side, because I had to let that sit basically in this position and let it sit for a couple of days because that odourless thinner takes quite a while for it to dry. So let's flip this little fellow over carefully. Have to be careful because the MG's come loose. Just by cementing it in, it's managed to wobble itself free, but that's okay. I'll pop the top off, which isn't cemented on hard. Just carefully put that out the way. As you can see, these wheels are too pretty. So that's what we're going to work on right now. And what I've done is I've mixed again that brown wash for green, alright, just an enamel wash from MIG, and I've mixed it 50-50. Now the reason I'm going 50-50 with this is the washes that you get from Ammo MIG, well, you could apply them pretty well as they are, and they're fine if you're doing that trick where you put them on and then you rub them off. But if you want to put them on so they just run into crevices, which is what you really do with the wash, then you need them about half as thin. So, see, at 50-50 this runs very nicely into all those crevices. Alright, so we'll do this wheel, and we just basically give it a... and see, it runs around all, it basically, you can put it in one end, right, and it'll work its way around and run into pretty well all the others. See, look at that even out. Okay, so we'll do this one as well, so pop it on here, and it will find all the little nooks and crannies and do the work for us. And there's a bit of spottiness, but I don't mind, that's because it's a thick wash. If you're running a thinner wash you wouldn't get that much of an effect. Alright, so again on this one, pop it on here, pop it on here, and once you've got the thinner all the way around, it'll run into every little corner. Okay. Now if you've got too much, see, that one's probably a bit heavier than that one, alright? So you've got too much, clean your brush off and use the brush to pull off what you don't want, and see what magically happens. It evens itself out, it runs into all those corners. So again, I could just take it off here and here and here, right, and you watch it, it will actually run, as long as you've got thinner everywhere. I mean, the other trick is to actually put thinner on and tap your wash on the top. That's another way to do it, and I've shown that in other videos. But what I'm doing here, I'm basically just putting my very thinned out wash. So it's 50% thinner than what Ammo MIG provides. So again, there you go, and just a touch more on this side, and it'll naturally start running and evening itself out all the way around. Okay, and if I've got too much, again, just get it off your brush. There you go. So that's all there is to it. Washing with this Ammo MIG stuff is so easy, and the results are lovely. Okay, and I can mess around and get a patina that I want on the other parts. So how's that look? Is that you know, is that looking fairly good? This wheel could probably do with a little more, couldn't it? So just put a tiny bit more in there. And so if you dab it on a line, it'll basically, through capillary action, run around that line. Alright, so dab it over here on a line and it'll find that line and run around. So I can go back here if I decide that's not thick enough and just tap it into anywhere there's a line. And because I've got solution there, because I've already wiped the thinner everywhere, it's going to run. And there's gloss on there as well. It's basically primed with the Tamiya rattle cans, which give you a sort of bit of a semi-gloss coat anyway. They're quite magic. The airbrush is great and I'm really enjoying doing all that, but I tell you what, there's some things that I did with rattle cans that were so easy. That really were so easy. So here you see I'm putting it on and then I'm cleaning my brush and taking it off until I get the level of the effect that I want. See that? And it will run all the way around. So I take it off at one side and it runs all the way out and evens out. So I think that's pretty well even. That's the kind of look that I want for there. And if you would see this roller, I would weather it as well, and we'd weather up the suspension arms as well. And one other thing I did was I ran a little bit of this on the tyres, just to kind of take the paint shine off them and grubby them up a bit. Well, it's just a little trick that I found. You run a bit of a dark wash. I mean, I paint my tyres in German grey, and then I find if you then run a little bit of a dark wash over them, the wash runs into, if you haven't quite sprayed it correctly, it isn't too perfect, the dark wash runs into those little rim edges and it fills and it hides all the sins. So there you are. That's the wheels now basically washed. And they're not going to need much more. A bit of chipping and a little bit of dry brushing, they'll be fine. So they'll need a day or two to dry to the level that I want before I can do any more work on them. There's a bit of a waiting game here.